All right, guys, welcome. Episode number 11 of the Coyote Football Stat Show. We are covering everything by district champions. That's what I say. I'm going to say it one more time before we get into the intros. By district champions, Anna Coyotes. This is episode number 11, brought to you by City Park Group. I am Phil Morgan.
I'm Blake Grundy, and hey, I would describe this as kind of like a snowball effect game, right? It started off a little bit slow. Our team was kind of rolling the ball. The snowball was getting bigger, collecting some more snow, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, that thing came rolling down the hill, and it turned into an avalanche, brother.
Yeah.
The final score, if you don't know, was Anna 45, Colleyville Heritage 10.
And originally this game was supposed to be a 3-point game. At least that was what all the predictors had out there, right? And you had some that were saying that it was Colleyville Heritage favored, some that said Anna was favored. Those of us in the know knew who was favored, and we'll just keep it at that. But the reality was, man, I'm so glad it wasn't a 3-point game because that fourth quarter opened and just the floodgates hit. I felt like there was a little bit of it got a little bit of deflation. I think that other team finally they got punched in the mouth so many times. I think in some ways, some of them kind of rolled over. Not all of them, but some of them.
You know, this game reminded me a little bit of our game against China Spring last year, right? Where China Spring came into the game hot, like ready to go. You know, we're going to show them what's up, and we just kind of very slowly squeezed the life out of them.
Yep.
Right? A good football team that you watch just become demoralized as the game went on. And that's what this game reminded me of. Listen, I mean, I'm just going to say it. There was one popular picker who had us as a 9-point underdog.
Yeah.
And then he may have tweeted out his worst losses of the night, and he didn't include us as his worst loss of the night, even though numerically it was a 44-point difference between his pick and what the final spread was.
Yeah,
and somehow mathematically he left that one off the list.
Right? Like, come on, man. Like, typically this guy has
He'll own up to it.
Mistakes.
He raises his hand and says, "Hey, I missed that one."
But when you come back after a game and then you don't make the worst loss pick, like you had that team favored by 9. What you're doing is you're trying to save yourself there, and it's not a good look. I don't like it.
Now he had another one favored by 28, and they ended up losing. So maybe he's considering like, hey, based on my spread, that was the biggest loss tonight. Okay, I can get that, but. This was a 44-point turnaround based on him. But, hey, you know what? This show isn't about him.
No.
This show is about how our dudes showed up to play, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the defense stepping up in such a big way.
Let's talk.
You know, like they – one of the things is this team is, and we've said it, what's going to happen with defense this year, right? We've even said it here. Like that's going to be what makes or breaks the Anna Coyotes is how this defense steps up, takes the next step, right, moves in and plays better as the season goes on. And they have been. They've been playing a little bit better every week.
Yeah.
With every game. Every time we advance, they get a little bit better, and that's what you hope to see. In this game, I just don't think Colleyville Heritage was ready for the defense that showed up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at the defense that played Oakland or the defense that played Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Right? And that defense has grown up a little bit. Now, as we go deeper in the playoffs, there's going to continue to be stiffer and stiffer tests because I think like I talked to, it may have been Dylan or Adon last week in the pregame interviews, right? We were talking to them, and there's no bad teams left, right? So by the way, this is no shade at Colleyville Heritage because they're not a bad football team. They're a pretty darn good football team.
And their bread and butter was running. I mean, between their quarterback and running back, they were dominant in the run game through the year. With their opponents. So it just seemed like coming in, this was going to possibly expose what a lot of people thought was a weakness for Anna. And instead, the guys
showed up as a strength.
Yeah, the guys showed up. And the guys played the way they're supposed to. They paid attention to the details, and they walk away kind of making people kind of go,
giving up two. They gave up 2.5 points per quarter.
Like,
yeah.
Is Anna hitting its stride at the right time? And of course, our answer is 100% yes.
I mean, I sure think so. Right? Like, you kind of look at our schedule and what we've been doing, and
all along. I mean, that is so frustrating to me. We've got a couple losses on our season. But look at who the losses are to, and look at what those teams are doing. I mean, with the exception of one who's at home still. But other than that,
our last loss was on September 27th.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been nearly 2 months since our last loss, right? And our last time where we gave up, over 50 points was September 20th. It's been a long time since we've given up that many points. And so that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Like, our defense is coming around and they're hitting that stride. And so we see these things happening. We see our team kind of rounding into form, and that's what allowed kind of our offense to have a slower start in the first half. Mm-hmm. And the offensive players will tell you that. Coach Parr would tell you that. Coach Rigg would certainly tell you that. We started slow in the first half. We didn't come out, kind of the machine we looked for out of that offense, but the defense, dude, really showed up in big ways. And so, I'll say this too: our fans were fantastic.
Yeah,
they had a home game, and I think we outnumbered them.
I don't know if all I know is we outlouded them.
We out decibel metered them.
We won on the decibel meter, that's for sure.
There's no doubt about that.
Fans showed up, and it makes a huge difference when the fans show up and they're supportive like that, right? 100%. I mean, we underestimate the value of that. I think as fans, we think, oh, it's okay, it's no big deal. We'll just watch it on television. We'll just watch it on Coyote Vision, which, by the way, is a great product. And we encourage you, if you can't make it, definitely tune into Coyote Vision, because they do a great job of covering the game.
But make it to the game.
But make it to the game if you can, right? Get there. And by the way, the guy that we had on our show last week got to do a little commentating work. I know seat's still a little warm, Pete. We miss you, buddy.
Kane. That's Mayor Pete Kane.
Mayor Pete Kane got a little chance to get in the booth this last game and do some commentary. I think he got to do a little color commentary over the Coyote Vision. So
did he?
Yeah,
okay.
he had a lot.
Back and look at that. There you
he
go.
had a lot of fun with that. I think he
good for him. I mean, he deserves it.
It's a natural place. You know? It's a natural place.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I would say be at the game, man. Like, listen, there's only one playoff run that this team will have.
Yep.
Because next year it will not be this same team.
Nope. It'll be a different team.
That may seem pedantic to say it that way, but it's just the truth, right? That's the nature of high school football, is you lose your senior class. We will never see Chumley make a playoff run again. We'll never see Zay Gentry or Ronald Bell or
look, hey, we no reason to get in our feels this early in the show, man.
No.
Let's go.
I'm saying this to say, like, you won't get to see him play live again, so come see him live.
Yeah, come check out the group. We got a chance. I know it's a drive, and I know that it's through the Metroplex and all whatever.
Leave early and get yourself a late lunch, early dinner, and like make it a family trip. It'll be fun.
Make a day out of it. Get out there. Come support the team. Have some
yell
fun.
At me while I ref basketball halfway along the way.
Ain't nobody coming to yell at you while you ref.
Should we talk? Now that we've talked about me reffing basketball, should we talk about the offense?
Let's get into it.
Talk about the offense. I don't know whose turn it is to bring him in, but I want you to talk about him. How about that?
Okay, we'll do it. Zai, look, there's a lot of great about number 8. Like, there is I heard the rhyme.
Were you going for it?
There's a lot of it's just natural in me. I just have a natural way of rhyming. There's a lot of great about number 8. Zai has a tendency, to be able to take over a game.
To be a stud?
Yeah, I mean, he could take over a game. Like, when he wills it and he wants it, there are moments he can elevate, right? And he can do just that. 19 for 29 in this game, 300 yards passing.
Yeah,
hit the 300 yard mark.
Sure did.
Look, 65.5% in terms of his efficiency.
Half a percent off.
One
completion.
Right. Hit a TD, a long pass of 57 yards, which was beautiful. 13 carries for 105 yards, and he runs one in as well. Does a little hop and a skip and a jump into the end zone on that carry. But look, I'm going to say what it is. Like, our main goal is to encourage these players, 100%, right? And people are like, oh, you're homers, you're this.
Yes.
Well, yeah, 100%
yes.
We are. Look, Zai's game is so well-rounded. And are there weaknesses? Yes. I think this game highlights one of the things he's got to work on, which is ball security, right? That's not a hidden fact. That's a reality that's out there. Like, and if Zai works on ball security, and especially when he becomes a runner, I think Zai is the best quarterback in the state of Texas when it's all said and done.
That's some pretty big praise.
I don't hesitate.
Darn good.
I don't hesitate. I'll let that fall out of my mouth every day of the week. I'll let that come out of my mouth every day of the week. He's a good player. He can throw. He can sling. Like he can move. He's very athletic. He's smart. Like there's so much that goes into Zai as a player that people take for granted.
So you want to know my favorite thing about Zai? My favorite thing about you, Zai, is that you take ownership when the mistakes are on you. And a lot of times you'll even take ownership when they aren't on you. You'll talk about, I ran it in for a touchdown, but I missed my read on Rowan and he should have had a touchdown instead. Yeah. Right? There's no mistake. Like, you got a touchdown, but he's like, no, I can do better. And that's my favorite thing about Zai is he's always willing to push, own his mistakes, and be pushed to be greater. And
one step further with that is it doesn't create bad body language. It doesn't create sulking or pouting. And that's what I like about it, right? Mm-hmm. I love that he'll take ownership, but some guys take ownership and it takes them out of their game.
Yeah.
And that's not good. It's not good for your team. It's not good for you. It's not good if other coaches are watching you at the next level. You've got to keep your head. And Zai does. He just kind of keeps his head. He's like, okay, it's a mistake. I see it. I know what I did.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got an opportunity. I'll get the ball back and I'm going to make it right.
I was about to say, we're talking to you, Mr. Williams. Talking about Caleb Williams.
Woof.
But then I was like, wait, hang on. He and I said share the same last name, so we can't.
Don't get me started about that.
I'm not getting you started, but just in case, hey, Coach Rig, Matt Eberflus is not watching this show. It's okay that we mentioned Caleb Williams.
Cool. It's cool.
It's gonna be good. Zai had a commanding game.
Rig's gonna hate us, by the way. All the grief we throw him. He's going to hate us.
I mean, if anybody's going to hate us, it's... By the way, thanks for, trying to throw me all the way under the bus with Coach Rod. Like, I was the only one. You're the one who carried on the...
Hey, you weren't there to defend yourself. It was easy. It was easy to play. Those of you that don't know, we do a stat show live Wednesday night.
Coach's
show, rather. Live Wednesday night from Nanda's. And my boy here had a high school game to ref.
College.
Oh, was there?
I don't miss this stuff for high school.
That's right. So
college
game. He was out at a college game. Anyway, he was gone and left me all by myself to do the show. And I got the opportunity to kind of,
but the beautiful thing about
I got the opportunity to rake you over the coals a little bit.
Yeah.
And nobody believed it. That, for the record, not one person believed it. So you're in the clear there because they all knew it was me.
They've seen my imitations and they've seen how bad they are. Yeah. They're like, there's no way Blake did that.
But hey, Zai had a great game.
He did.
It was very cool.
But listen, dun, 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 dun,
you gotta do it.
Hey, Edward Superman Chumley was in the house on Friday. I hope his just Superman image is just right here. And it's just joining us,
just living
live
on the desk.
Superman,
Josh, hint.
Hey, Superman. How are you feeling after Friday's game?
Yeah, that's what we thought.
That's what we thought. You didn't feel a thing. No, hey, Edward Chumley had a monster playoff game.
You just had a conversation with an imaginary friend. I love it.
Some of us will take friends wherever we can get them, Phil. I don't know, funny. Man. Like, listen, 21 carries for 160 yards before we psychologically try to break me down. 21 carries for 167 yards. The theme of the show, the motto of the show this year. I do the math.
Do the math.
You don't have to.
Do it.
7.6 yards per carry. Yep. That is stupid good.
Yeah.
And we have a ridiculously high threshold of yards per carry to give another sticker of 10.
Yeah.
And that's because we've been spoiled with Breezy into Chumley of guys that can hit this.
Yeah, what they're capable of doing for
7.6 yards per carry is just dumb. 4 is really good in the NFL. 4.5 is probably pretty good in college. 5 is really good in high school. You start getting to 6, 7.5 yards per carry. That is monster numbers. Listen, so the 160 yards is going to get him a sticker. Then he had a long run of 78 yards. We're getting ready to close out the game. We're just going to run the ball, chew the clock. Chumley comes in, and before the plays even ran, Coach Parr is probably 5-10 yards from me, and he's looking back at the bench, and he goes, Pharrell. Well, he calls him Farrell. Farrell, get in here or get ready to come in, right? And I think it's just because he just runs wild and free. But Pharrell, get ready to come in the game. Like you're going to come, take Chumley out. Like you're going to close the game out for us. You're going to get some carries. We're going to get Chum to healthy the next one. And Chum was like, oh no, hold my helmet.
Yeah.
Here we go. And he takes, I think, 78 yards to the house. And by the way, he didn't even get touched.
No, I'm on the downfield side of that play, and I'm zoomed in on the line. And he comes around the right side and is just as soon as I saw him clear the line, my first words on my video were, oh, no. And he's just gone. Dude was just – Jets were on, and he was out, and it was lightning. Like, it was so good.
Listen, I mean, he was – I was on the other side, right? And he does. He hits that hole, and I mean, the dude just saw green for days and said – I'm going to take off. And by the way, we joked about it with Frisco Panther Creek last year. There's no monkey that hopped on his back and was trying to drag him down at the end where he just looked gassed. Dude just took it. Yeah, and he was gone. And maybe that's because he got to, get his legs back under him by not playing very much against Liberty. Chumley, there's a method to the madness of Coach Parr. Right. But phenomenal game. He came away with 3 touchdowns. It was a game for him. Yeah. Because we're not done talking about him. No, but it was a game for the young man, and he showed why we've been calling him Superman all season long, because he has these crazy, ridiculous performances, and he's like, no, don't worry, you don't have to bring Pharrell in. I'm just going to end the game right here by getting our offense off the field and making them go back out on the field.
And that was a rough last series for them. Series.
Let's call a spade. They had given up by that point.
Oh, they had given up, and you could feel it. It was tough, and it's tough to have your season come to an end, and especially in before the state championship game. Nobody goes into the playoffs thinking, "Oh, I'm only going to get one game." They go in thinking, "I've got a shot at state like everybody else now."
They're dreaming the road to 6.
And it's a lot. You get to watch that process in a lot of kids' minds at the end of these games, and you get to see that kind of come through. And to their credit, they got up, they shook hands, they were good sports at the end. They did what they needed to do. And look, Edward's going to end up being our number 1 sticker getter for the week. With all the stat lines and all the things he did. So it's a lot of fun to talk about these two all year long. Number 8, number 1.
Superman, thank you for joining us on the show today.
It's been great having you, sir.
Appreciate you having you, but we got to talk about another young man.
Now we got to talk about number 3. Number 3, Ronald Bell. By the way, let's just start with Ronald Bell with this. They did FanDuel came out and had been working on a piece about his family, about his life, and they did an incredible job.
Great piece.
Incredible deal.
About a 7.5, 8 minute, little mini documentary.
Yeah, a little mini documentary. It was so cool. Just from the standpoint of you really get a glimpse at what Ronald has gone through to get where he is.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, and I love that they didn't glamorize. They really just told the basic story, and as a result, the highlight was, Ronald and his family have overcome, and it has allowed Ronald the opportunity to thrive even in the midst of pretty incredible tragedy. And so that's a testimony to that young man in every way. It was fun for us. We got a chance to. I feel like a ton of our clips ended up making that documentary. That was a lot of fun too. But look, Ronald, you get 4 stickers, man, and it is no surprise that you're getting 4 stickers. Not at all. The game was phenomenal. Your game was great. You had, and it's funny. I'm going to talk about you get 5 catches on the game, and your game was great. But it really was 5 catches, 131 yards on the day for an average of 26.2 yards per carry. Because what? We do the math.
We do the math for you.
We do the math.
Yards per catch.
Yards per catch. And the long catch of 57 yards with a touchdown was truly something special. One of the things I love about Ronald is afterwards we did an interview with him, and we asked him about which catch meant the most, and the thing that he talked about is I love the catches where I get yak, where I get those yards after the catch. That's what means everything to me is I want my team to know that just because I'm covered doesn't mean I'm going to get stopped.
Yep.
Right. And he never does. He's like Chumley in that regard. You better be on your A game. You better be perfect when you're covering Ronald Bell, or else he'll make you pay. And he did. He made them pay. 131 yards on the day. Incredible day. A total of 4 stickers for you, my man. And every single one of them totally earned.
By the way, that long catch, as I went back and was watching our footage and the film clips, just keep running, bro. he kind of slowed down to try and like juke the kid out. And I don't think he would have caught you if you kept running.
Yeah.
Or even if you just put a stiff arm out there, and he probably is getting you down into the end zone or down at the 2. But like you said, a phenomenal day for a phenomenal human being.
Yeah.
There's a reason I like we tweeted this out. There's a reason why we love this young man.
Yeah.
And why we hold him in such high regard, and we know the character of him because he elevates his team, right? So Ace Trailer put out his highlight clips of the night, and one of them is one of Ronald Bell's catches. He took for like 30, 35 yards, something like that, and it's just Ace downfield blocking. And you know who the very first and reply on that on Ace's highlight tape was? Ronald Bell.
Yep.
Giving him a shout out. Thanks for the block, kid.
Yep.
Or king or whatever he said, but like thanks for the block.
Yep.
Right? Like always there to shout out his team is awesome to see.
Dude, we get to see more Ace. And that excites me. Like you know how I get about these younger players. You know, I kind of have a tendency to look to next year and think a little bit ahead. And that's one of the kids that, man, I'm so excited.
Stud.
Yeah, dude. Because he understands the team idea. Like it's not all about him. It's not his ego that's out there playing. He's playing for the Coyotes. And that means if he doesn't have the ball, he's still got a job to do.
Yeah.
And he does it I know this isn't like a Ace Trailer segment. It's the Ronald Bell moment, but Ace is a big part of some of his success. And that's just got to be said. You know, that's the quality dude that he is.
You know what? Sticker for Ace.
Sticker for Ace.
Blocks for days.
I like it. Blocks for days, baby.
Blocks for days.
Throwing
right?
out them blocks, baby. Come
blocks
on.
for days. Josh is now typing down, and now I got to add another sticker live in the middle of the show because Blake didn't do his job. Blocks for days for Ace. I think Coach Rod would agree with that.
Sure.
You know, Coach Rod is our wide receivers coach and special teams coach, and he'd be like, "Of course, you want to do his impression?"
No. I don't want to get in trouble. No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. See, because I'll be there on Wednesday, so you can't throw me under the bus. I'll be there.
Oh, man.
So Ronald Bell, Ace gets blocks for days. Number 19, Michael Kennedy. He's going to get one sticker on the night. You had 2 catches for 41 yards for an average of 20.5 yards per carry.
Nothing but big catches.
Yep.
He had nothing but big catches.
Both of them kind of along the sideline, I think, if I remember correctly. But there's one on the sideline, and it's coming towards, I think it was the south end zone. So coming towards me, and Kennedy catches the ball along the sideline, and he's turning and running upfield, and the defender's there, and Kennedy just says, "I'm just going to literally turtle you." Right? And so if anybody doesn't know what turtling is, right, it's where you just run over the defensive player and put them on their back, and they just go like belly up like they're a turtle with a shell and there's nothing they can do anymore. He sticks his hand on top of that dude's helmet and just pushes him to the ground and turns him into a turtle, runs over him, and gets another 5 to 7 yards on the play. It was pretty cool to watch. So he's another one of those juniors that you talk about where you're excited to see what he's going to be in his senior year because these kids only get better. They only work harder. And Michael Kennedy showing up in the stat line again.
With so many mouths to feed, like the fact that these guys are still making their name, like they're still getting on the stat sheet, they're still doing, like that's an incredible testimony to these guys because you get 2, 3, maybe 4 opportunities in a game with all the receivers we have.
Well, and so you said this before that we went live on the show. Tell us a little stat about the receivers.
I mean, look, out of all the receivers, almost every receiver had multiple catches. So, which there's only one that didn't, but he's not a primary receiver. He comes in to help the offense occasionally with Zay Gentry, but his main position is on defense. So, taking just our receiver core, just our receiver room, anybody who of all of them, they all registered more than 1 catch. So, 2 or more catches on the day for these guys, and it's just a testimony to the depth of that room. Like it just goes to show we got a lot of dudes here, and a lot of them are coming back, which is so exciting. Like if I'm Zai, I feel really good even about looking ahead because I know I've got a room full of receivers that are coming back that know him. They have a chemistry together.
Yeah, I mean, so 19 catches on the night because Zai had 19 completions. Here's the number of receptions for individuals. I'm not gonna say who each of them are. Zay Gentry had 1. Ronald Bell had 5. Ashton Ansley had 5. Ace Trailer had 3. Rowan had 3. Michael Kennedy had 2. Like, it's just a spread the ball around. And we say, like we said, Zay is a primarily defensive player, and he didn't come over and cross over as much. No. I think he may have only had the 1 target on the night. And it was just kind of trying to get the ball out in the flat to him and let him create something off of quick bubble screen action.
Yep.
So it's no shade. It's just That's
not at all.
spreading the ball around.
Yeah.
And the reason we have time to spread the ball around, the reason we have time to have big rushers is because
Our O-line, baby.
talk about them then.
Our O-line, baby. Come on.
Talk about 'em.
The Purple People Movers at work again, baby. You are loving that, by the way.
I am.
Not only do you get to talk about our Coyotes, but it is a reference to your team, your NFL team.
The Purple People Eaters.
The Purple People Eaters.
Skull Vikings.
There he goes.
Josh, the Green Bay Packer fan behind the camera, just shaking his head
that's
like,
right, he can't handle
wait,
that.
why won't they give me a mic again?
Yeah, now we know why.
Now
Because
we
we don't
know.
want to hear anything about no cheeseheads. Keep it to yourself, pal.
Go eat your cheese curds somewhere
Yeah,
else.
go eat your cheese-
Actually, bring
go
them
eat-
over here. I want some cheese curds. Those are good.
No, you can keep them. Keep them to yourself. That's what
Okay.
the Packer fans, whatever. So anyway, Purple People Movers, our O-line doing their thing. He's going to edit that whole segment out.
The NFL Stats Show brought to you
That's
by
right.
the Coyote Football Stats Show.
Look, we give this when we rushed for over 250 yards as a team. We had 259 yards on 40 attempts.
Hey, Phil,
for an
help.
average.
I can't do that math.
I got you on the math.
Thank you.
An average of 7.62 yards per carry, which, by the way, I'm going back to look because I was really curious just to see how things were going and how we were doing in terms of, yardage and rushing versus, where they were, Colleyville Heritage was. And they had 136 yards of rushing on the game.
Yeah, 201 offensive yards total.
Yeah, 201 offensive yards total
So we had, what was
Zai-
123 more yards on the ground than them?
between two guys.
Yeah.
Between two guys.
Yeah.
So all that being said, like these guys on the line made it so much easier. I mean, look, they were dominating. I've got a video of Peyton Miller flat out just. I know you.
It was
you
a
were
blindside.
It was a Michael Orr moment
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like he literally just something flipped in his head. He was mad. Like Peyton was not having it.
I guarantee
and he
you
was
he said something to him.
And my favorite part of the clip, and I want y'all, we'll have this clip. It might run, hopefully, Josh, you run it a couple times so people can see it a couple times. But the reason I asked to run it a couple times is because it's real easy to focus on 54, Peyton Miller, just absolutely owning this defensive line guy. Just owning him. Like, absolute. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that this kid is done for the night. But what's more funny is watching one of his teammates that's in the foreground, and his teammate is in the foreground, turns, kind of looks over his head and goes, oh, throws his hands up like, what? Are you kidding me? It's such a great clip. I've watched it hundreds of times now.
You showed it to me like 5 times last night because I have I'm staying on the Edward Chumley, seeing what Selly he might hit, and Peyton. I see Peyton go out of my screen and I'm like, what is that kid doing?
I mean,
and then two refs go running after because Peyton is just violently destroying this young man.
Oh, he did, and he's tossed him like a
he's
rag doll
not
at the end
being
of it.
illegally violent. It's just his block was ridiculous.
He was just doing his job.
Well, as we're talking about the O-line, then Chum breaks his big run, right?
Yeah.
And Jesse Vasquez immediately comes to the sideline and looks at me and goes, hey, Blake, was I keeping up with him? And so I go back and I'm trying to show him the play. And I mean, the dude was working hard. He was sprinting down the field trying to keep up with him. And he goes, man, I look like I'm moving slow. And I go, no, dude, you were busting it.
Hey,
I was like, you're supposed to look slow to compare to our running back. That should be a thing that our
should
running back
be.
is able to outpace you.
And how many of our offensive linemen are 300 pounds or more?
Yes.
Right. I think most of them.
At least
three of them.
At least 3 out of the 5, maybe 4.
Maybe 4. If you're a 300-pound dude and you are trying to compare yourself to 180,
we'll give him 180.
180-pound running back.
You know what, Chumley? I'm going to give you 181.
181, chum. We got you. That comparison's not fair, just off the top, right? That's not. You can't compare 300-yard or 300-pound, offensive lineman
to a 300-yard rusher,
to a 300-yard rusher, or a 181-pound running back. So no, Jesse, you did what you had to do, bud. You and the rest of the line, you guys were outstanding. We're going to give you all a sticker. The Purple People Movers, well earned, incredible night.
You get them
Great
in a buffet, that might be the Purple People Eaters too.
That it might be,
and not might be, it will be. I know my boys over there can throw down some food.
Well, we are moving, so maybe we should hit we should hit that defense.
I mean, I know you brought in the offense, but I got to talk about this kid on the offensive side. So do you want a chance to talk about on the defensive side?
No, go ahead. It's all good.
All right.
I mean, it's all good.
Hey, Superman. Thank you for joining us on the show again. It's
That's 2 spots, Josh.
It's good to see you. I didn't think you'd make a reappearance, but I guess you are Superman after all. Number 1, Edward Chumley is coming back on the defensive side of the ball. He got 2 total tackles, but the big one was a sack. And I remember Severe sends him on from the sideline, and he's coming on from the secondary, your end of the field. The Colleyville Heritage offense is trying to move towards your side of the field, and I see Chum run on, and I go, "Oh, Superman, here we go." Oh, Superman, because it was a pin your ears back moment, and I was like, "Oh, they're about to find out about Edward Chumley."
There were a lot of those moments.
They're about to find out about Mr. Edward Chumley, the defensive stalwart. And sure enough, he gets in there. It's a delayed blitz. He's waiting, popping, looking. And he's like, "Oh, nobody's going to come over the middle where I'm supposed to cover? All right, bet. Here I go." And the young man took off, finds a hole, hits the quarterback, and it was just like it was the Edward Chumley experience. Like Superman came to play. So Superman, thank you for joining us on the show again. We got to just shout you out. You get a big sack as we're trying to mount the comeback, shutting them down, doing what you do all night long, just everywhere. By the way, he also almost blocked a field goal. Just chill, kid. And coaches, not our coaches, college coaches, come get this kid. You will get a gem. You can put another 15, 20 pounds on his frame. Like he will be good. And you know what? He will be a winning football player for your program because he does everything you ask of him and then some.
With a great attitude.
And his will to win is second to none.
There's so many kids on this team that have really wrapped their head around the fact that if I'm a good teammate, if I can be a good teammate,
things happen.
Yeah, dude. I elevate my value. And Edward is just one of those guys. He's just got such a great heart. The kid is a good teammate, and it comes out in the way he plays.
Can you guys tell we're passionate about this kid?
We love him, man.
We love this kid.
Chum, we love you, guy. Great job. Incredible moment, as always.
6 stickers on the night for him.
6 stickers on the night for him. By the total, 7 tackles or 7 sacks on the night.
Yep. Yeah.
7 sacks. That quarterback. He is still in an ice bath today.
And 7 tackles for a loss.
Yeah, so it was a big day for defense. Let's talk about this guy on defense.
Come on.
People avoid number 2. They avoid him like a plague.
The plague?
Yep. They do not. They don't want any part of Zay Gentry. And as a result, it feels like we go really long periods of time without talking a whole lot about Zay. Zay, it's not because you don't do your job. It's because you do your job, we don't get to talk about you that much.
Yeah.
Because teams do the work. They watch the film, and they know if they get a ball anywhere in your region, you're either picking it or you're knocking it down. There's no way they're getting anything on your side.
Avoid Gentry Island at all costs.
Avoid.
It is a barren wasteland.
It is a
where
no-fly
receivers
zone.
Go to die.
It is a no-fly zone. Put no ball in that direction. So you got 2 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, but the play that's going to get you your big sticker. I mean, you get 2 stickers on the night because the tackle for loss, but the play that I really and I loved, I couldn't believe that I got it. Honestly, I thought for sure I would have missed this just based on the way the play developed. But, man, you elevate in the secondary a ball, and I don't know what the quarterback was thinking. It really kind of floated a little bit. I think it just got out of his hand a little too high. But, man, Zay comes in and just jumps out of frame in the air, and you see his big old hand come up and just pop, knocks it up. It goes off his hand as his hand comes through, goes up and falls down behind the receiver.
Tip drill.
Into the hands of number 6.
Tip drill.
Into the hands of number 6. Tip drill comes to play, and it's all because Zay was in the right spot at the right time and making a play. So, Zay, you get 2 stickers, my man. Incredible plays. Great night. Look, just keep being dominant. Just keep that right mindset. Keep going, keep playing, because people just don't want to mess with your side of the field wherever you are.
Hey, number 4, Ashton Ansley, brother. We got to do an interview with him after the game. They literally turned half the lights out, 2/3 of the lights out while we were interviewing. And so we had to do a pirouette. If you watch that interview, the post-game interview, by the way, go watch them. They're always fun to do the post-game interviews with those kids. Phil's on the camera. He's holding the camera. And Ashton's on screen. And we're doing literally a pirouette. And I'm getting both of them to turn in sync. So, Phil's doing a great job of keeping the center frame. And Ashton is just talking as he turns like a seasoned pro.
He knew what to do.
So that we can get the last 2 lights that are still on behind the camera. Last 2 stadium lights. And all of a sudden, he comes back into frame. And the shade that one Twitter personality was throwing was left
That's it.
to fade away, as Ashton talked about our victory.
How dramatic of you.
You
How
like
dramatic.
that?
Yeah, how dramatic.
You like that?
Like, man, you
Ashton
painted a
Ansley's going to
scene.
get 2 stickers on the night. You had 2 total tackles. Not to mention what you did on offense, but you had 1 interception. They're throwing it deep, and Ashton's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be able to high point this ball, and I'm gonna get it." So he picks it off, and I'm like, "Oh, cool!" Like my camera, like I saw Zay in the area, and I was like, "Oh, Zay's gonna make a play on it." So I focused on Zay for a minute, and then I saw Ashton was getting it. So it's kind of like a little jerk to get Ashton. So I think you've got Ashton high pointing it.
Yep.
And then I've got him running it back because you were getting trampled because the dude then proceeded to pick off the ball that went for 89 yards to the house. And there were probably about 4 different moments where I think everyone in the stadium thought he was either out or down, or the play was over, or there was a penalty.
He wanted that touchdown.
And he just kept going. And it was really cool to see him get his defensive touchdown because he's a receiver at heart.
Yeah.
And he came over to play this side of the ball because he hurt his wrist towards the end of the season and was in a cast, and you can't catch the ball with a cast.
But I think it made his dad so happy for him to play some defense.
He was a dog.
Yeah, he said it in the interview. He's like, apparently I'm a safety.
He's like, apparently I'm a safety now. He's like, offense is my or wide receiver is my position, but apparently I need to look at free safety now because I can play some of that.
When you could get a pick and run it back 89 yards, like there's definitely some defense in you.
That was special. That was fun. And that was, I'll say it, that was kind of like the final deflate. Like that was the nail in the coffin. That was kind of just the last thing where it was like, oh yeah, this thing is over. Yeah. Like all hope is gone for Colleyville Heritage to come back now.
Yep.
And Ashton, you kind of delivered that knockout punch. You just little no Mike Tyson, Jake Paul going on. You just delivered the punch and brought it home. And so Ashton Ansley had a great night, but he's not the only one. Number 5,
man, Eric Bowen comes in. Now look, I'm going to say something because I've got the video of it. I'm just going to say it. Eric has a sack. I have it on camera. So just so you know, Eric, I caught it. I got it all on film.
Was it the play where the quarterback's rushing?
Maybe.
It was a read option. The quarterback's rushing the ball.
Yeah, so he turns into...
It's a tackle for a loss.
Yeah, tackle for a loss.
Sorry to deflate you.
Yeah,
you still get a sticker for it.
You still get a sticker. 4 stickers. 7 total tackles. And I got a perfect angle on it, Eric. So you'll have some video coming your way, my man. Beautiful play. 7 tackles, which, all of them were solos. Puts you second on the team in tackles this week.
Hang on, say that again. All of them were what?
Solo.
That's pretty impressive for a cornerback to have 7 solo tackles. The dude was on his game.
Yeah, the defense as a whole, everybody elevated this week. Every single defensive player elevated. Eric, for sure. I felt like this was one of his best games of the year so far. By far. And it had nothing to do with touchdowns, had nothing to do with anything else. It was just basic, sound, solid football. Like solid football.
Game.
Yeah. 3 tackles for loss. I mean, it was just overall, it was a really good game for number 5. You get 4 stickers for that, and I'm so much fun to watch when you guys are playing that caliber football.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. His best game of the season. Those 3 tackles for a loss were monster, brother. Hey, number 6, we're going to talk about it. You mentioned him earlier. He was the other half of that tip drill. He's going to get 2 stickers on the night. You were tied for the team lead with 9 total tackles.
Yes, sir. Number 6 was tied for team lead. Let's go.
Listen, this was flashbacks to Grant Cerveny for me.
Yeah.
Flashbacks to last year. And we know we talk about like this defense is their own defense and things like that, but the defenses before and the teams before also set a legacy. And they set a standard that people want to live up to. And so while, yes, this is their own defense, you also don't want to forget who came before because that's the legacy and standard that was set. Yep. And Grant set that, and George, you lived up to that in so many ways on Friday night. You were tied for the team lead with 9 tackles. 7 of them were solo. And then you had that 1 interception. I think you took it back for like 39, 40 yards. And at one point, I thought he was going to house it too.
I did too.
He had his interception came before Ashton's, but I saw him get the ball, and he started getting open field, and I was like, oh, he might house it.
I thought he was going to break it.
He might house it. And so George coming up in big ways on Friday night, getting 2 stickers, brother. Dude, like just balling out on defense. You've become so comfortable in that safety spot, and it's been cool to see that.
Yep. All right, let's look. We're going to talk about Cash. Number 25 had an absolutely dominant performance.
Yep.
I mean, Cash, when we talk about elevating, like Cash finds it a little bit different gear every single time. And he was 3rd on the team with tackles with 6. And you're going to get a total of 4 stickers on the night. But man, you 8, dog. Nom, 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 nom. You know, he went at it. He had his little quarterback snack, baby. He had
more
his
than a snack. I mean, whole daggum meal.
He had almost had a 3-course meal.
It was a 3-course meal.
2.5 sacks. I mean, it was. He was showing me his helmet. At one point, he comes running off the field, and his helmet had literally broken. The top piece off the helmet had broken. And they were having to try to repair, fix, do something to his helmet. And he's like, my helmet broke. I'm like, yes, that's what I like, baby. You are getting at it. It was so much fun. I mean, 4 stickers that you were just – the video, by the way, is awesome. And we get his celebrations, whether it's the shovel digging,
the grave
digging, or what. I mean, and you get him like yelling, and I love it when Cash gets fired up like that.
He gets that emotion in him.
Yeah, man, and it comes out, and it was just another moment of just absolute dominance on the football field, and it's another kid that we get another year's worth of excitement out of because he's coming back.
By the way, they've painted up over his antler spots.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which tells me that he's a buck.
Yep.
That's survived through the rutting season. He's a big old boy, and he's coming back strong, ready to do some damage in the postseason. And that's what that tells me, man.
Yep.
Those antler horns are growing back, and that's what we saw. Yep. Him just absolutely eating some people up. Our next guy on the night, number 26, Carter Dietz. We do in fact have a number for him. Even though Max Preps does not have a number for him.
It does not.
Number 26, Carter Dietz is going to get 2 stickers on the night, brother. You had 4 total tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 sack. This was the most fired up I think I've seen Carter all season long. The most emotion out of him, and he came to hit, and he hit hard. He had 1 quarterback, like his sack. I thought the quarterback may not get up from it.
Yep.
And there was a moment where I think the quarterback thought maybe I should just not get up from this.
Maybe should just stay down.
Maybe this should be my tap out moment.
Should I hold my shoulder? Should I
He held his shoulder for a little bit on the Cash Williams sack. I think it was the Cash sack.
The Cash sack, he went to his shoulder.
He kind of held that.
Yeah, he kind of held his shoulder. On another, I think it was a tackle for loss because he had tucked the ball and started running on the sideline closest to us.
Yeah.
He went to his back. Like, you guys just absolutely brutalized that quarterback. And by the way, of our 7 sacks, just so you know, because we do the math, 6 of them were completed by underclassmen.
There you go. I like it.
I'm just saying.
I like it.
I'm just saying. I love the look here.
I like it.
Carter was a beast.
He was. The next guy, too, though, he had a big sack.
Brennan's sack is brutal. Number 30, Brennan Williams, comes in. 5 tackles on the night, by the way, but you're going to get a sticker for the sack, and it was undeniable. And you could feel it. Like, I could feel the electricity from you after you tackled the dude. It was crazy. Like, it was such a good sack. It was another one. You guys just broke the will of this team when it was all said and done. You broke the will of the team then, and it was the defense that had everything to do with that. And Brennan, you were a huge part of that. It's so great having you healthy. So great having him back and doing what he does. So, Brennan, you get a sticker too. Coming to you, my man.
Hey, the next guy, number 31, Austin, I'm going to knock your helmet off, Crowley. Getting 2 stickers on the night. You were tied for the team lead with 9 total tackles.
Say that again.
Tied for the team lead with 9 total tackles. Or
Let's go.
Or the nickname, I'm going to knock your helmet straight off.
That's right. That's right.
He's just going to punch you straight in your mouth, and that helmet may or may not come off, and it's starting to lean towards it may with how hard he's hitting.
Most of the time it's coming off.
Crowley, it's only a matter of time before you knock somebody else's helmet off. Legally, only a matter of time. Legally. 1 sack on the night, legally, just destroying people out there on the field. He's kind of that hub of taking the will away, right? So we've got somebody nicknamed the Soul Snatcher. Should we call him the Will Snatcher?
I don't know.
Just taking away the nickname. I mean, Austin Crowley is incredible.
Nickname or not, we call him Austin Crowley, and it was a great game for him. Great game. I mean, he is definitely it's his name. Like, that's the thing he set out to do this year, was make a name for himself, to not have to live in anybody's shadow. And I feel like the kid has really done a good job of doing that. Just keep going, right? Just keep finding that next gear. Elevate a little bit more every week. Just keep going. You're leading the team in tackles. You're getting to the quarterback. You know, this team's going to keep needing a guy like Austin Crowley.
Yeah.
And this is our last guy on defense, the Soul Snatcher. He's coming back, baby. Number 90, Caden Banks. 5 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. He gets a little quarterback snack. He gets in on a half a snack.
By the way, real quick, I love that when we interviewed both Cash and Caden after the game.
Yeah.
And I love that both of their favorite sacks were the ones that was the one that they shared together.
Yeah.
Both separately said that. They weren't around each other when we interviewed them.
Right. They were all in different places.
And so I love that they shared that because it was also what Cash talked about, dude. We're a family now. This defense is a unit. Ooh, when a pack of coyotes hunt as one, ooh, it's a scary sight to behold.
It really was. And that moment was, again, we talked about the punishment that quarterback faced all night, and this is not the sandwich I ever want to be a part of. No. You've got Cash Williams on one side, Caden Banks on the other. I mean, that's a whole lot of coming your way.
It's a whole lot.
We've kept total in the game, and
this was a new stat line that we kept.
Yeah, it's a new stat line, and just want you to know, Caden, you captured 11 souls over the course of the game. Congratulations. Incredible. Just what a great defensive game. It's a perfect way to cap it off. 3 stickers for you, Caden, in total, 2 tackles for loss and that half a sack.
And 11 souls snatched. By the way, if you're wondering where the 11 number came from, you snatched the soul of every offensive player during that game. They didn't want to play anymore. They just didn't. It was over. It was done. You took their whole souls and you collected them and you went home. I said, try again next year.
Try again. You should have a necklace with every number from every player on. Is that a little much? Man, we need to wrap this up. But before we do, we got to get into some special teams.
Special teams.
So let's do that.
All right, number 12.
Zay.
Our Xavier Flanagan showing up big in special teams. Look, this is kind of partway through the season. I think we started tracking this a little bit better between the two of us.
Yeah. Because
we get our stats in a combination between Max Preps and Dallas Morning News for people who are ever wondering.
And sometimes just from our own video.
From our own video. But we're not sitting there tabulating stats ourselves on the sideline. We get it from there, and then we put them together and we make our show from that. But about halfway through the season, Coach Rod was like, hey, listen.
You did it. Now you did it.
Listen, I need you guys to give out stickers for these big tackles. I'm like, okay, we got you. Coach Rod has one of the deepest voices I've ever heard in my life, and you wouldn't expect it seen coming up to him. But our Xavier Flanagan, you pinned him. I typed out inside their own 15. It was I was watching the footage. It was like the 12-yard line. And anytime you pin a team like that deep in their own territory, it's going to just give such a boost to your defense. It's going to have the possibility of putting your offense in a great position. And that's exactly what it did.
Yeah.
And so number 12, Zay Flanagan, you're going to get your sticker for that huge special teams tackle. He made that tackle. He comes right up to the camera and he's pumped. And I'm like, dude, you should be, because that's a huge play. And so Zay, you're getting our special team sticker on the night. Great job, brother.
And that does it, man.
Brings us to it.
That puts a wrap on the show. Look, we have the area round of competition coming up this Friday.
Gold ball season continues.
Gold ball season moves on, baby, and we get to be a part of it. The Coyotes are marching forward. They get to face Abilene Wiley, and we're going to do that in Godley. Godley's got a beautiful new stadium. We get the opportunity to go play there. I think it'll be nice to see that stadium up close and personal. It'd be even better to get the chance to compete for that area championship. Yep. So it's 7:30. It's going to be a drive. We all know that. We've already talked about that. Get out there. Be loud. Be proud, right? Get out there to support these guys. They deserve that support.
And listen, I'm going to say it. Once again, this is Blake Grundy speaking. This is not a representative of the Coyote program saying this.
Okay.
I don't care what their stadium regulations are. I don't need to know. I don't care what their website says. Bring the horns, bring the cowbells, bring the wooden blocks, bring whatever other noisemakers. Just bring them. Guess what? The Colleyville Stadium said you can't bring that stuff either. And you know what they let in? The horns and the bells and the wooden blocks.
Yep.
Just bring them, man. Be there, be loud, be proud, just like you said, and
have a little fun.
Go Coyotes on 3?
Go Coyotes on 3. Let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
Go Coyotes.